So hello and welcome. This is Erica Glessing. You're joining me for the Erica Glessing Show, and today on the show, I have a rock star. He is amazing. And the funny thing about Sobhe, who's a brilliant entrepreneur, is he's a little bit understated about his success and his company, Our Success. I almost got it right. Welcome, Ash. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Happy to be here. And thank you very much for inviting me again.
You know, I just don't have enough hours in the day to understand all the things that you understand. So I just have to bring you on and have you share your expertise in the area of branding and Instagramming and, you know, Twittering and just being really more loud and proud about the work you're doing in the world. I feel like entrepreneurs tend to downplay with their own awarenesses, their own messaging. So maybe just tell us a little bit about, for the entrepreneur who doesn't have total ease with getting out there and getting seen more on social media, what are some baby steps? What are some first things people can do?
So last year, I coached about 4,000 people on social media on how to be successful online and in business. Most often than not, the question I get is, how do I get comfortable with social media? And one of the first things that, Erica, comes to my mind is that I don't really understand why we treat social media as an external thing versus just an extension of us. I always say, imagine yourself walking into a park. Let's say there are 20 people sitting there. If you wanted to get to know these people, what would you do? Don't you just walk up to some people? Don't you maybe start with a compliment saying, hey, beautiful dress, love it, where'd you get it from? Don't you maybe ask for it as a question, maybe impose a question so they can engage with you?
Right.
And that's where social media is.
Or for me, like I might say, I really like your dog.
Right.
Because you know, if you see someone with a really cute dog and the dog's just kind of like begging for a little more attention, that's a great way, like, just to ice break, is these things that you have in common with people. You know, those easy things you have in common with people. That's such an interesting observation.
So here's something that's very interesting. Over the last 30 days, literally, I have grown by almost 1,000 followers myself on Instagram. And I'm very old school on Instagram just because I don't care for followers. I care for people that can grow me as a business, right? So for example, if I come out with a book tomorrow, I want to be able to go on my Instagram and say, hey guys, followers, fans, family, I would love for you to go on Amazon and do me this favor and buy this book for $12.99. And if I can get, let's say, 3,000 people buying it on the spot on the first hour, then I can become, let's say, Amazon's bestseller. And then that can propel me further forward in other things in life, right?
So how do I get these followers that are cool followers and not like fake followers?
I'm glad you asked. To be honest, Erica, I think the biggest secret right now is DM. DMing people has been my biggest savior and has been the single reason why I've grown so much. If you look,
well, first, you know, you're just going to have to say what DM is for those of my audience who are still in 2016.
Of course, absolutely. So DM is direct messaging. Direct messaging is inboxing, and that's how we communicate with other people. Okay. But I'm glad you asked.
You inbox someone and you say, hey, I did a message and would you mind sharing it? Or what do you DM people about?
No, not really. Because if you walk up in the park and say, hey, stranger that I've never talked to before, I just did something, but I need a favor from you. I need you to do X, Y, Z for me. They're probably not going to do it.
Okay.
You got to be nice first.
Right? Okay. So you DM just to say hi?
Yeah, absolutely. I always start with, hey, how are you? And then I ask about their day. And I always ask, oh, cool, what do you do for a living, right? And typically, my biggest thing is that people find me to be a very positive person. I almost died some years back, and because they found some tumors in my brain and whatnot, and I ended up with the second chance at life. So if I'm every single day for me is I've lived beyond what I was expected to live. So every day for me now is a gift, right? So that's completely changed my mind. And so based on that, a lot of people find me to be a bit more upbeat and positive than an average person. So with that said, I always pick on them. Why is that a problem?
Just being silly. I'm so happy half the time, Ash. I don't even know what to do with all this joy. I'm so flipping
Good
happy.
for you.
Just because, for me, I feel the same way. Life is so short. And so every single thing that I can celebrate, I'm going to celebrate, be it a new book of an author I'm publishing or a new podcast interview with the great Ash Sobhe. I just want to remind everyone who I'm talking to in case you forgot already. And I just look at every day as, what can I learn today? What can show up today that I don't even know about? Let's jump a little bit out of the how to and jump into like what's trending, what's coming up in the future. What are we going to see on the horizon? You have such a brilliant eye of that. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing.
So a lot of people are being attracted to models that are called sustainable recurring revenue. This means finding a model where it can, on a consistent basis, produce you a specific amount of revenue without you necessarily being tied to it, right? So here's what I mean. For example, if you could grow your niche in front of, let's say, a lot of podcasters, or let's say I'm a foodie and I really like restaurants and foods, if I can grow my Instagram and following through that niche, what I can end up doing is that as I go out and about my day, I also can get sponsored posts from other people that want to get in front of my audience. So they pay me up to $200 for every hour that I keep their post up. So here's what I mean. Let's say I happen to love horses, right? Or I happen to love cars, or I happen to like shoes, right? As I go out and about and I post about different things, if I grow my following to, let's say, 10,000 or 50,000 or even beyond, I can get other people that sell shoes to say, hey, if you give me something about your store, I can post it on my Instagram, and for the first hour or for the first 12 hours, I will charge you X amount of dollars. But because it's not part of my personal brand, after a while, I will delete it and take it down. Is that fair? And that's how a lot of people are now leveraging their brand to make money. Does that make sense?
I'm really curious about this topic of monetization. Mm-hmm. So why don't we look at the case of, say, I don't know, an author who writes about happiness.
Good. Okay.
So at one point you gave me some brilliant advice, and of course I didn't do it because I was too scared to be on video, but which I've gotten over almost. Sobhe, Ash Sobhe, everyone. So what do I do if I have like a message? I'm an entrepreneur with a heartfelt message. If I'd like to have it help people more and monetize it. Sorry.
If you truly want to monetize it, you have to connect with people. If you have a sincere message, I urge you from everything I have to please not focus on the camera, but focus on the person behind the screen, because you're not doing it for the camera. Don't let the camera basically intimidate you, because the person that's behind the screen is who we're talking to. So pretend like you're talking to your little brother, you're talking to your little sister. Really truly focus on that message, because what I figured out is that sincerely, honestly, genuinely, we only get to live this one life that we get to live as a conscious mind. So with that said, this is everything I've got, and I know now my own demise. I understand that every single moment that I spend could literally be my last moment. So how do I make this the most amount of fun I can for me? How do I make this the most amount of fun I can for my brilliant friends like Erica, right? How do I bring value to her? How do I make this conversation useful for a lot of your audience that are listening to this, so that way we're not wasting their time, but giving them something that could be even considered as a gift, you know?
I love it, because I really do get that. If I can pause in my day and then maybe say a breakthrough or help maybe an author get something off their hard drive, if I can just pause and tell them one thing that could help them get into creation mode, maybe that's changed the world. I mean, we don't know, but maybe that will then change others. So I love that. Thank you so much for that.
Definitely, yeah. 100%. I definitely agree with that. Very cool.
Yeah, that's so much fun. So how did you grow your audience by 1,000?
Like I said, I keep it very old school. I try to connect with people. if I post, let's say caption my post something about whatever it's going on at that event, and I'll end it with tag a friend who this post could be useful for. And people literally tag each other in my post. So just like in the old school days where we would ask for referrals in the business world, just like we would ask for word of mouth, right? I do the same exact thing online here. I genuinely connect with people. When people follow me, I follow them back, or I write on their DM, or again, direct messaging that, hey, thank you very much for following me. I'm just curious. What attracted you to me? How do I make our time together more useful and more beneficial to you? And they love that, right?
They do, and they do. And the other thing, too, that I've noticed is for me, so few people are just genuinely kind and thoughtful. And that's something I've noticed about you, is that your responses are genuine and they're kind. And that really goes so far in today's world, you know?
Absolutely. And, you know, it's, to be frank with you, it's resulted as a side effect into a massive amount of profits for our agency. Last year, we had the least amount of costs we've ever had as far as our modern history is concerned. And we actually increased our profits tremendously. And it's just so amazing and so interesting how we get so many freebies. We get so much more love thrown at us that I feel like I owe everybody. There's no way in hell I can ever pay it back, but there's so many kind people that are just, for some reason, they just appreciate what we have and what we do for everybody. Because I go around, for example, I spend a full day or a half a day at a business randomly. I just walk in and say, hey, here's my message, here's what I'm about. I feel like any day could be my last day. You have me as an executive for a full day. I won't want to charge you a single penny, but what do you need done that I can do for you? If you need your bathrooms cleaned, I'm happy to do it. I see a truck there with a bunch of boxes. You need those empty, let me do that. If you need your vendors called, let me help you with that. If you want your social media presence, you have me as an executive for an entire day, right?
Wow.
Why not? Because at the end of the day, Erica, I kid you not, I feel so much better. And as I'm going out and about doing videos for people, growing their social media, people are like, yo, that kid is really sincere. I don't know what it is about him. I can't put my finger on it, but he's very down to earth. And I end up with so much more referrals and everything else. It's created a wonderful, wonderful lifestyle for me, to be honest.
Oh my goodness. Well, I just would like to interview you forever, but we've come up on our time. So everyone, if you'd like to get a hold of Ash Sobhe, why don't you spell out your business name for them so they can find you?
Sounds good.
Or your Instagram handle.
The best way to find me actually would probably be Instagram. And my handle there is spelled A as in Apple, S as in Sam, H as in Howard. And my last name, again, one word, is O as in Orange, B as in Bob, H as in Howard, E as in Edward. So ASHSOBHE.
Awesome. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.